So hey guys, I'm Sage Valentine and I'm back to review another episode of CBS's Big Brother Season 18, episode number 22, so let's just get down to it. This is going to be a quick review, so I hope you guys are ready. Victor picked the worst time to win HOH because now he's going to be the world's biggest target during the double eviction because the guys want him gone. As I said before, the guys are in an alliance called the Executives. And apparently there is a 3-person alliance that was revealed in this episode that includes Paul, Paulie, and Victor called the Board, but the Board is going to be short a CEO when Victor is more than likely backdoored during the double eviction. And Victor believes wholeheartedly in this Board 3-person final 3 alliance, but what he doesn't realize is that PP has plans to be the last 2 people standing. As far as that HOH competition goes, I mean, I figured Victor was going to win anyway. But I'm very disappointed at the fact that so many people just threw the competition. I'm not the biggest fan of throwing comps. I think the only person, in my opinion, that didn't was Michelle because Michelle was sick. I think that Natalie should have just stayed up there and kept spinning around until Victor couldn't handle it, and then Victor had dropped, but Natalie dropped in. Victor and the guys realized that in their eyes Natalie was trying to get sympathy, so they decided that she is yet another threat that needs to go. Speaking of threats, Victor doesn't realize that Paulie is the biggest threat to his game at this point, and Paulie is the one that spearheaded this whole Let's Get Out Victor campaign. But like Bridget, Victor is on this quest to get all the people who voted him out, except you know how Bridget's obviously on this whole quest to get all the people that voted Frank out. But Victor is foolish because he really should be targeting Paulie at this point and getting him out of the house, or at least backdooring him. And if he was thinking clearly at this point, he would realize that Paul does not have his best interest at heart game-wise, because Paul would be reminding him, listen, don't forget that Paulie was the one trying to get you out of the game. And what Victor doesn't know is that Paul knew that Victor was going. And yes, Paul gave Victor that vote of confidence to stay in the game because he refused to vote for him. But Paul never warned Victor, and I think that he should have secretly warned Victor. But then again, I guess Paul was just like, if I tell him, then, if I remember correctly, if I tell him, then he is going to run around and tell people. But at this point, Paul and Paulie are like this, and there's nothing that's going to break them at this point until somebody wakes up, wins HOH, and puts their butts on the block. Because whoever wins an HOH that is not involved in the executives, and by whoever I mean a girl, if a girl wins HOH, a girl like Michelle or something, they need to cut Paulie out of negotiations, because Paulie has been pulling the strings on each and every one of these HOHs to the point that it is becoming very, very embarrassing. Because in other seasons, before season, I believe it was before season 15, pretty much everybody who was HOH did their own thing. Only recently did this whole what the house wants thing start popping up, and this whole I don't want blood on my hands thing start popping up as well. What you guys that don't watch the feeds need to know is that James told Natalie that she was safe on the feeds when he's been throwing her under the bus for the past couple of days. Bridget is not after James, but she's after everybody else. And the main reason why Zakiyah is on the block up there next to Michelle is not only because she outlasted people, but because of Paulie throwing her under the bus, saying that she is a social butterfly. And Paulie ran and lied to Z and told Z that Michelle was the target this week, when it was actually Z at that point, but now apparently it's Michelle again because Paulie keeps flip-flopping, saying that he wants Z out at one point, but now he doesn't. He wants Michelle out. And for those of you that don't know, Paul is not happy about that, because I guess Paul looks at it as, you know what, you wanted Day out last week, you got Day, I want Z out, and I want her to go home. Paulie tells Zakiyah on the feed that Day left because she turned on the alliance. She wasn't the first one to do that, though. And Paulie revealed to Zakiyah that he threw 2 HOH competitions, not including the HOH competition with the internet trolls that happened last weekend that we saw in Sunday's episode. Well, you guys saw it in Sunday's episode. I just saw that competition today. Paulie is pissed off that Davon warned Vic about the guys coming after him. He said that Davon would throw everyone under the bus like he basically did and does to people. He's basically a hypocrite. He claimed that he wasn't watching Zakiyah during that HOH competition. He was stalking the crap out of her during it. And that he did not throw the competition. Yes, he did. And he tells her that he's pushing to get out Michelle, but at that point he was completely gung-ho with getting rid of Z, and I was cracking up when I was watching the feeds. I believe he said that on Friday before I turned it off because I had to get up early to watch Suicide Squad. But these people cannot believe a word that comes out of Paulie's mouth at all. When basically the guys want to kick out the girls, that's when this whole Final 3 deal comes out with the whole board member thing, and we learn that Paul is not 100% on board with the board member thing because he's still loyal to the other P in PP. Michelle didn't want James wearing her jacket because he ripped something that he put on that was hers. And when James went to approach her, James came across a little bit nasty. Michelle said that she was upset about the votes and she should have been told. And she said that she's hurt about the miscommunication. And James basically said he voted Day out for personal reasons. I'm questioning those personal reasons because to me it seemed like James cowered and decided to go with the house because he didn't want to upset people, but in reality he's going to be one of the next people kicked out of the house soon. So James ran to Michelle and James ran to Paulie and threw Michelle under the bus, said that Michelle was a loose cannon, an emotional person, and she needs to go before Zakiyah. And Paulie said that Z wouldn't go after James and Corey, which is a lie because she probably would. But then again, that's how I feel, that she would. But then again, I don't know when it comes to Zakiyah because Zakiyah, to be honest, still seems like she's following around Paulie like a puppy, and I hate saying that, but it seems like that. But Paulie seems like Davon out so he could have more control over Zakiyah, because at this point, if you look to the conversation that he was having with James, as well as the conversations that he has had on the feeds talking about Zakiyah, he looks at Zakiyah like she is a bad dog and he's pulling her in. Basically, she is me when I'm walking my cousin's dog and he is yapping up a storm and I have to pull him back. Or when I was a kid, I had 2 dogs, Lucky and Snoopy, and I used to walk them with my grandpa, and grandpa would have to pull Lucky back and pull Snoopy back because they weren't bad dogs or anything, they just always wanted to kiss people all the time. And I had to do the same thing. I wasn't rough or anything with my cousin's dog Max that died last year, but I had to kind of pull him in a little bit when he would try to kiss people, because he wasn't trying to bite people or anything for the most part. He's very protective because he was half lab and half pit bull, but he was sweet and was always trying to kiss people. And my cousin's little dog now, he's always trying to kiss people, although sometimes I think he might be trying to bite people as well. But back to Big Brother. That's how Paulie looks at Zakiyah, like somebody who needs to be controlled and pulled in, and that he has her on the leash and he can control what she's going to do. So James receives the Big Brother care package, and the biggest prize in his care package is the right to abolish 2 votes. Now, for some reason, I felt like James could use this right at any time during the game, but apparently not, because Big Brother is something else, because they're going to make James stand up in front of everybody this week and abolish 2 votes to their face. And to top it off, they're not telling the house guests that once they win this little care package, they can't win anything else. So not only did people screw Natalie by giving her the have-not pass, they screwed James. So God knows who's going to win the next care package. But I hope that the next person who is basically awarded a care package is either Zakiyah, if she's still in the game, or Michelle, if she's still in the game, because if not, then it'll probably go to somebody like Bridget or Victor. The last 2 people in this game that need care packages, considering that Bridget is safe and Victor is not going to do the right thing if he wins a care package at this point in the game. So probably one of those 2 will win, or Z will probably get it. I hope she doesn't, but she might. James also got some underwear, some aviators, some sunglasses, and tube socks. So we have reached the cherry on top of this crazy episode. I know that you guys were waiting with bated breath to hear what Sage Valentine has to say about that ceremony. As I speak, leave me some comments. Let me know what you thought. But I thought that was the dumbest nomination ceremony that I have ever seen in 18 seasons. And I'm being real with you guys. It was dumb. Okay. Michelle was nominated because she was rude to James, plain and simple. Because she wasn't rude to Victor as far as I saw, and I don't remember her being rude to Victor or anybody else besides James on the feeds. I could be wrong though. But Victor said that yesterday wasn't the day to piss people off. But as far as the episode goes, the only person she pissed off was James. So that should be a big wake-up call to Michelle and Zakiyah and pretty much anyone else who was sleeping that isn't a part of the executives, that James is a part of this really big alliance. And on a side note, Natalie brought up this idea that James was involved with Paulie and that he runs back and tells stuff that he hears. Man, I swear Natalie is woke, but I am worried for that chick because James has made her name mud. But back to what I'm talking about. Okay. The only reason why Zakiyah was nominated was not only because she and Michelle obviously were one of the 9 that contributed to Victor being evicted. Not only because she would nominate Victor, although I think that she would nominate Paul more than Victor. And would probably put up Paul and Paulie because she's so mad at how this vote went. I would go so far as to say that Zakiyah would nominate Paul and James or something. I really don't think that Victor was on her radar at that point. But the main reason why this chick was nominated was because she never showed him any attention, and that only Paulie got all of her affection. And I was like, wait a minute, because I heard people fussing on Twitter and Tumblr, and I was like, why is everybody so upset? Like, what is going on? And then I watched this episode and I'm just like, Victor, what in the hell are you thinking? Like, what do these guys see Zakiyah as some sort of prostitute It's bad enough that people are online calling Zakiyah a hoochie mama wearing hoochie's clothes. But to hear the guys say it, but then again, I'm not surprised because Paulie has basically painted Zakiyah in a specific light. To whereas the guys don't even respect her. They think she's the biggest threat in the game, which is why I'm starting to realize that, like, season 18 is turning into a joke because these girls are being nominated and basically being evicted because they are, quote, too smart and are noticing what's going on. And it's like the season of getting rid of the girls that are paying attention, which is why I'm worried about Natalie. Hell, I'm also worried about Big Meech, aka Michelle, because Michelle's picking up on stuff. But I mean, like, Victor's just so stupid. And it's like when he gets kicked out, Davon is going to read the crap out of him, I'm sure. When he gets to the jury house, because she's going to tell him, I told you, dude, that these guys were going to get you out of this house. Like, why are you not paying attention? And he's so blindly loyal to Paul and Paulie, he doesn't see that they are gunning for him. I mean, like, this episode was a mess. And to top it off, this dude threw beads, like, quote-unquote, friendship beads at Michelle and Zakiyah, and all I could think of was like Mardi Gras beads, like pull your top up and show your boobs or something. Like, this was the most outlandish thing to do and very disrespectful. And Michelle is upset that she's nominated because she feels like she's the worst superfan in history and she can't trust people and she won't go out without a fight. Zakiyah is not surprised at all that she's on the block, and Zakiyah says she's going to fight as hard as she can to win that veto. I'm not going to spoil it for you, but you're going to be very disappointed come Wednesday's episode when you see who won the veto. And Victor's using words like everything's on point, on fleek. The reactions were priceless. Little does Paulie know that there is no way in hell that James is going to use that power to save Zakiyah. So Zakiyah is pretty much out of luck because Paulie basically blew up her game and destroyed any chances that she had to redeem herself. So what she needs right now is a miracle, and unfortunately, after that veto ceremony, all I can do is shake my head. But you all take care. Let me know what you thought of this episode. Leave me comments. Let me know how you're feeling, who you think will win. Obviously, I think Paulie's going to win. They might as well hand him the check. As for Sunday, I wasn't feeling my best, and because of that, when I woke up on Monday, I must have had food poisoning or an upset stomach because I was not doing well at all. But I listened to your tweets and, well, the one tweet, and I made sure to do this review because I was sure that you guys definitely wanted me to review this episode because this episode was a hot mess. But you all take care. I love you guys, and tomorrow's review will be done on time, as will Thursday's review. So until tomorrow, bye guys. Bye.